All right, everyone. Welcome back. Special Friday edition of Backdoor Cuts. I know we said we'll typically do Tuesday, Thursday, but for whatever reason, this week again, Thursday sucked. Tonight's a loaded day of games. We'll figure out something for next week, Dukes, right? We're going to run through Maui, Atlantis, give out winners. I know last year the Barstool Sportsbook had, in the Futures tab, you could bet on the tournament winner. I'm waiting for those to get posted. Once those are, we'll run through, do best bets for that. PK85, hopefully we get lines or, like a tournament winner for that, both brackets. But this feels, we talked last time. I didn't think I'd get pissed at you this fast, but you ruined my Tuesday night.
Yeah, man, that was
you ruined my Tuesday night.
Yeah, that was an all-time jinx by me.
It was unbelievable.
For people that don't know what we're talking about, I tweeted out, has Joey Hauser ever played a good game against good competition? And he proceeded to have the game of his life.
The game of his life. I was losing my mind. Like, I don't think Joey Hauser's good. Or, like, he is who he is, right? Like, he's been around forever. Michigan State wanted to run him out. Michigan State wanted to run him out of the damn program last year. Instead, he lights up Kentucky because Damian Collins doesn't know how to go fucking over a screen.
So here's what I'll say. It was just like Joey Hauser at Creighton, right? No, Creighton, right?
Marquette.
Yeah, his freshman year was phenomenal. So, like, he did this against Davidson last year where he got hot and people are like, oh, like, also, by the way, the worst fucking fan base of all time, Michigan State. Go fuck yourself.
Michigan State sucks.
You bunch of losers. I didn't say anything fucking bad about them. I said that they shouldn't be in the Champions Classic. A team with more championships should be in the Champions Classic. I don't think that's a hot take. I think a team that wins championships should be in said Champions Classic, where you have Kansas, Duke. Like, what are we talking about? And then they're coming at my throat like, oh, see what happens when you talk shit about Michigan State? I didn't fucking say Michigan State was a bad program. I just said they shouldn't be in the Champions Classic.
Yeah. They also are like the bottom of the blue blood. When you look, like, I was talking to someone else and they brought it up to me where they're like, it's funny looking at the Champions Classic where it just feels like Michigan State, no matter what, has the first game because they are the fourth team. Like, it's split hairs, Duke and Kentucky in terms of like the bigger brand. Small jump to Kansas, and then a big jump to Michigan State. It's not a knock on them. It's just who they are. You won one title since 2000, or two titles since 79. Like,
they have the same amount of titles as Cincinnati. They have the same amount of titles as Cincinnati.
Yeah, fuck Cincinnati too, though. You want to talk about little brother syndrome? Like, I made that, like, because of you getting DePaul fans all pissed at me. Talk about an irrelevant program.
Bro.
Talk about an irrelevant program. Rod Strickland ain't there anymore, guys. Mark Aguirre is not there anymore, boys. You're an irrelevant program.
Yeah, I'm seeing, like, and they still beat Kentucky. People are so mad that they're like, see, we proved you wrong. I'm not saying that they can't, like, they couldn't beat Kentucky this year. I'm just saying there's more deserving program like a UConn that should be in the Champions Classic.
And listen, they have just as many as Kentucky since 2000. Okay, let's go back to 3 more years before that. 4 more years before that, 96. Kentucky has 3. Like, we picked this arbitrary number of 2000.
Yeah, fine. Let's go 95. Let's go 90. Let's go 88. Right. Let's go 85.
Let's go back to 79. Let's go back to 79.
Yeah, and then if you want to 79. Yeah, exactly. It's just like,
we'll give you your other title. We still have more since you won both of your titles. And like, yeah, Michigan State won that game, but that was the all-time fucking choke job by Kentucky. Like, Sissoko's good. Hauser played out of his mind. Like, I like Walker and Hoggard, but Kentucky choked that game away. They are Oscar Tshiebwe remembering where the fuck to stand on defense. They were Xavier Wheeler and Lance Ware not running up 90 feet away when you're leading by 2 away from winning in overtime. They were Coach Calipari's dumbass lineup management. Like, Michigan State won. Yes, I understand that. But if you look at every single model, everything that goes back and like shot quality analytics and all this other stuff, Kentucky should have won that game by double digits. And I know that's not what happened. but it just kind of sums up where Michigan State is right now. Like, they are a feisty team that's going to be in and out of the top 25. They'll probably peak at about 12. Then they'll lose a bunch in a row and fall down. They'll be a 6 seed that pushes a 3 seed in the round of 32. That's my prediction on their year.
Yeah, I think that here's 2 things that I'll say. One, I think Michigan State's better than people expected, which I don't think is a hot take at all. I think that Sissoko is a really good big man. But I got to say, you Kentucky fans are the biggest overreactors that I have ever. And I'm not saying I'm shocked, but what an overreaction by you guys. You guys got Sheboy back. You guys, yes, it is. You guys got Sheboy back. You guys got Sheboy back. You guys had to get him locked into the rotations. You got to figure out your minutes. How are you going to evenly spread those minutes? Like, you guys lost in double overtime to Michigan State. Like, you guys aren't going to go 40-0.
Here's my problem. I'm not saying we should go 40-0. But you don't.
But that's how you guys are acting.
No. Here's why. You can go back to the Auburn Elite Eight game. You can go to St. Peter's. You can go to any big game where Kentucky has lost. What we're screaming about is the stagnant shit offense that we run when we get to the 6-minute mark in the second half and there's no creativity. The fact that C.J. Frederick and Antonio Reeves played less than 5 minutes together is a federal crime.
But I think this is when you get that figured out, though. You don't agree when you get Oscar back?
We went to the Bahamas this summer. That should have been figured out. We had a full team in the Bahamas. We had the advantage of the once every couple of years you're allowed to go on an overseas trip. Figure it out there. You have the advantage. It shouldn't be that hard. Here's the rotation. Here, I learned it. I can give it to you right now. You start Wheeler, Wallace, Frederick, Toppin, Oster. You use Damian Collins as your first big backup. He's not a 4. You use Livingston as a 4, a 3 in a pinch if you have to. You bring Reeves in as the Super 6 sub. And then Lance Ware and Ugo are your other backup bigs. That's it. There's the rotation. It ain't that hard. So that's why we're screaming is everything we were told is getting fixed. Didn't get fixed. It's the same old shit. And I know we're talking long about Kentucky, Michigan State, but Duke's pissed me off because he jinxed me and Joey Hauser.
And also, UNC is not in the Champions Classic because
they're in the CBS Classic.
And also that
Same with UCLA.
UCLA definitely wouldn't be because when the Champions Classic started, they weren't really relevant. While Michigan State was still making a shit ton of Final Fours and was getting close.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to today. We had to get that rant out. Loaded. It started at 5 a.m. today. Ryder Stetson started at 5 a.m. today, which give me more random 5 a.m., 7 a.m. games. I want that. But
yeah,
here's what we're going to do. We got 4 big games we'll run through. I got a full card. We got best bets. We'll take chat questions for today's game, weekend games, really just Sunday, I guess, with Kentucky, Gonzaga, and then the way the Myrtle Beach and the Charleston Classics kind of fall. So we'll start Indiana Xavier at 6 o'clock. Indiana is giving 2.5 over under 143.5. This game is at Cintas, at Xavier. I see a lot of people on Indiana, and I get it, right? They are the favorites to win the Big Ten. They have all these expectations coming into the year. Xavier struggled against Fairfield last game. Xavier has struggled since Chris Mack went to Louisville. So I get it, but this line is weird. And this is where I just want to take the home dog, especially when I see a lot of people on Indiana. It's a stay away for me. If anything, I kind of like the under, 143.5, because Xavier turns the ball over a lot. Neither team's really a shooting threat, right?
I disagree with that now.
They both want to play through the post. I mean, the numbers. Let me pull it back up. I had the numbers.
I mean, I think that Indiana has more shooters this year than they have in years past. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I do, and I think that Miller Kopp's going to be able to extend the floor more for them.
I mean, they're 308th in 3-point attempts, so it's not like they're shooting.
Their guard play though. Yeah, they obviously are going to go to their best player, the guy that they have had, the guy that they brought back, Trace Jackson Davis. But from what I saw in their first couple of games, was they were able to do more for extending the floor than they were last year or the year before.
So this is where This is where these teams are very similar. Indiana 308th in 3-point attempts. Xavier 341st. But Xavier's 13th in 3-point percentage. They're making 45.5%. Indiana's making 40%. So that's where I kind of like the under is both teams are going to dare each other to shoot. Like Xavier has big front court depth, right? Like Fremantle, Nunji. I like what they have in the front court to kind of counterbalance what Indiana has. This is also Indiana's first big game with expectations. I don't know if I can – I mean, you can go back. Like last year, they didn't really have a ton of expectation. I know they beat Purdue and all that stuff. And I agree with what Big Al's saying. Cintas is an extremely tough place to play. It is. Like, I've been in there for a Xavier Nova game. That place goes fucking bananas. And I saw Xavier fans lining up at 7 a.m., before 7 a.m. today to get in. So you're talking a good 12 hours. Hopefully they're drinking. Shout out Dana's. Hopefully you
they're
stop
definitely
by
not
Dana's.
drinking. They're definitely not drinking.
I don't know. I've drank with them before at Dana's. Some of them.
Nah.
I know you and
Dayton. I mean, dry campus. Xavier is not,
So is Kentucky.
not a fun campus. Not a fun school.
Kentucky was a dry campus. That was fun as shit. Dayton definitely better drinkers up. I don't want to take a side. I think I'm going to take the under because Sean Miller, he's going to run that defense. We know what he does. I think it's just going to be a slow game. Like I think both teams will kind of take away transition. 143.5. Now the fear is free throws late in the game. I'm going to take the under if that one. I'm staying away from the side. I would lean Xavier to be a contrarian. And I love home dogs, but I think the under is the play.
Yeah, I'm going to take a Xavier minus whatever you can really like find it at, but I got it at minus. It's been moving on. It's been moving.
You're taking Indiana.
Indiana, but I got it at -1.5. I'm saying now that it could be as high as 3. So just like you might not get a closing line value at it.
Yeah, no, and I'm curious to see what the total does.
Yeah, so you have to get the good number. Like, do I like them at -1.5? Yeah, like that's just you're basically just saying like you got to hit 2 free throws at the end of the game really to like win or like to covers, and 3 is just a little bit tougher. So yeah, I like it at some numbers. Just be careful what you get it at.
Baylor, Virginia. This game is is out in Vegas. Virginia is catching 5, and the total is 131. I think we talked about it, or I talked about it with somebody, maybe on my spaces. I love Baylor. I don't think Ken Pom has this at a 1-point game, which is wild, and I know he loves Virginia. But what do you like about Virginia in this game against Baylor? Besides making it ugly and slow.
So here's my thing about Virginia. They basically return everybody from last year, right? And
for the most part.
And towards the end of last year, I think they started to come along. You saw that those wins against Duke. They just didn't look like a team that could make an impact in the tournament. What I do like about Virginia is that they add another year in the pack line defense. And I think that they have veterans that all understand the pack line defense right now, and that they're going to be able to give Baylor some fits. I think that also
5 feels low.
I think 5 feels high. I thought this one was going to be like 2 or 3.
I don't know. Listen, Baylor can do anything, right? Like they can play against a pack line because they have 3 awesome guards that can shoot the shit out of the ball. They can play at the rim, even without JTT, because they have the experience and they run Scott Drew's money with that offense. They can defend. They play fast. They play slow. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. Baylor's 7th in the offense in 3-point attempts, and they're shooting 38% as a team. Like, good luck stopping that. And if they get hot, good luck Virginia scoring. And I know.
Yeah, Virginia, I mean that's always the thing with Virginia though, is if they go behind, can they come back? It's kind of like the 40. I mean, not to talk about football, but it's kind of like the 49ers offense in football. It's like,
right.
All right, like if they can sustain a lead, they'll keep the lead, but if they fall behind, they can't come back.
Now the only fear is Baylor fouls a shit ton on defense, and if you get guys in foul trouble, you get the bonus early. Virginia's going to make free throws. That's the fear. 5, I don't know. I think Baylor's the best team in the country. I said in the preseason I had Baylor number 1. Virginia, I felt was like a little overvalued, and I don't want to see Jake happy. So Baylor -5.
Yeah, I mean, I won't get into this too much, but it's also a some things are bigger than sports moment for Virginia.
It is true. It
so
is.
That could go two ways. That could go their mind's completely out of the game,
Yeah.
or it's like they're playing for them.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how much to take into consideration that, but yeah, I mean, I like Virginia coming into the year. I mean, I also I've been drinking the Jake Malasek Kool-Aid, so yeah, I'll ride with Virginia here with the points. I think their defense will keep it close.
I think 131 could be an interesting total too. I kind of lean the over in that one just because I think Baylor and like people don't realize about Virginia. They're 20th in 3-point attempts and they're 6th in shooting. So it's like you have two awesome 3-point shooting teams that are going to get looks from 3.
Also, the only thing that scares me about Baylor, not even scares me, worries me. I think that they're one of the 4 teams that could win the championship right now. But the thing that worries me, yeah, Baylor.
Yeah, they were my best bet at 16-1 to win.
I think that the fact that they have no point guard though, like no true point guard, a little bit worries me.
I disagree with that. I think they have kind of the perfect lead guards in Flagler and Cryer. I think Flagler especially or Cryer, both of them. They know the offense so well where it's like, yeah, they don't have to go try to get like Xavier Wheeler or Kendrick Davis or Yuri Collins, like guys who are going to go get like 8 and 12. And everyone's like, oh, that's a point guard. It's like, well, no, it's not 2005 anymore. Like when I played where it's like point guards had to go get 10 assists a game and score 6 points and you were good. No, you have to. I think that's where Flagler and Cryer are good. Perfect question by Big Al. Oh, and yeah, Keontae George Bynum on defense is dangerous because I think Keontae George is awesome, like top 5 NBA talent. Good. Big Al, is Illinois better without Kofi? Big test tonight with UCLA. I think UCLA has too many weapons. I think this is the best game of the night. This is the most interesting game of the night. UCLA is catching UCLA is giving 445.5. This is the second game out in Vegas. Me and you are both high in Illinois.
Yep.
We both really like Illinois for the reason that Big Al said is Illinois better without Kofi? Yeah, they're more, how can I put it right? Like, I don't think better is the right word, but like they have the ability to do more without Kofi because you don't have to wait for him to put his ass in the post and feel like you have to run every possession into the post. So 104, I might just blindly take the over in this game.
So here's where I stand on this game is these are both two teams that I really, really like and I'm very intrigued by. Here's the thing. I think Illinois will be better. I'm not so sure that it's going to come together all right now. And that's why it's almost a stay away for me. Like, I'm not going to take this game. But if I was, I guess I'd lean UCLA just because of the experience factor where you have Meyer, Terrence Shannon. Like, I just haven't seen enough from Illinois right now to be confident taking that bet and seeing how cohesive they are.
That's kind of why I want to take the over is, like, Sky Clark going to really stop Tiger Campbell?
Yeah.
Like, there's mismatches across each way. And that's not even just on the Illinois side. Like, UCLA has mismatches defensively, too. The neutral court scares me. I know it's Vegas, but, like, how teams shoot on a neutral court versus, like, a regular college court has me a little worried about the over. I kind of want to see how, like, Baylor and Virginia look. You know, it's like one of those where you see the rims and you can hear the rim and it's like, oh, that's a bad rim. I'm betting the under no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opposite of like Maui. Like Maui, everyone just takes overs because it's the softest rims in the world. Whereas like Atlantis, I feel like since you're playing in a ballroom, you just take unders. I want to see how they look, but I do like the over. These tournaments always feel like we never get the matchup that we want outside of like Duke Gonzaga in the Maui a few years ago, where we really want what? Baylor, UCLA, right? Like that's what the casual fan wants here. We're going to get – that's not going to happen. There's going to be one upset. UCLA has too many weapons. Yeah, I think UCLA has a lot of weapons. I don't love Tiger Campbell, but he is who he is, and he is good. Jaquez, Amari Bailey, like that's why I just kind of think the over. And we know Illinois wants to run, and we know they're going to stretch him out. So I kind of like the over there. Last big game, Notre Dame. Nova at Michigan State. Michigan State laying 6.5, 130.5. You think a letdown spot? Nova stinks right now.
Yeah. I think that Nova just kind of stinks right now. I mean, I really don't. I don't love any bets today, to be honest. I think this is all just like I don't feel confident. I don't feel that confident about one college basketball bet.
Today. I have 6 on my card so far.
Yeah, there's nothing that I really stand out and love, but I don't even want to get into this game or talk about it from a gambling perspective because you could talk yourself into, is this a bounce back spot for Villanova while it's a letdown spot for Michigan State? Is Nova just not that good? I think that also just like if I was talking about it, Michigan State and Nova, like I think I'd lean Michigan State because Nova kind of stinks at defense right now. They'll always be pretty good on offense, but Michigan State, I feel like is the exact opposite. They're really good at defense right now. Kind of a matchup nightmare for Nova.
Yeah, I think Sissoko can just destroy him.
Yeah.
I think Sissoko can just destroy him. All right, my best bet today is Iona -3. That game's in Connecticut against Vermont. Vermont has played like 12 games this week, I feel like. They were out west and now they're coming back home or coming back east. I love Vermont, and I got a bad number. I saw this opened up around, I think, 1.5. Iona, though, -3. They can just pick up the pace. Their defense really good. As much as I love John Becker, Rick Pitino is the best X's and O's coach in the game. I don't think that's a question. Like, he is. Rick Pitino is the answer to, if you want one guy to coach like the college all-stars to save the world, Rick Pitino is the correct answer. And I won't hear any arguments against it. He's that good. And he will always be that good. I don't even think it's close who else you take. So Iona -3 is my best bet. I'm 2-1 on the year. You're now 1-1 on the year. I'll run through the rest of my card real quick. Penn State +2. Talk about a fucking sweat yesterday. I had over 140.5 in that Furman Penn State game. And Penn State couldn't miss the first half. I thought we were about to get to 90 points, it felt like, in the first half. It took 2 free throws with 8 seconds left to get to 141. So if you got I luckily had beat closing line there. It was 146 late. So I'm going back. Penn State +2. Furman -8. I love Furman. They are a damn good team. Taking Bellarmine +12 against Clemson. Iona. Florida State under 145. And over 139.5 in Colorado A&M. That's my card so far.
I'm going to take Virginia Baylor as my best bet under 131.
Virginia Baylor. Okay. It's going to be a slow game unless Baylor just runs them out of the building.
Exactly.
Or you might actually.
And then if Baylor runs them out of the building, I don't really think that Virginia has the offensive power to.
Right. I would say you might cheer for that because that game could end up being like, if Baylor runs them out of the building early, that game could easily be 73-50.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you 8 points of wiggle room.
Yep.
I don't hate that. Best bet for me is the over UNC James Madison.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what I didn't see what that line is.
I'm gonna look at it right now. Is that out?
Probably not. They play Sunday or tomorrow. I forget what day they play.
Okay, they play Sunday, but yeah, I'm telling you on that. James Madison's a wagon on the offensive end. Their up-tempo offense is crazy.
KenPom has that line at it'll probably open around 154. John, question for Reags. How much should we factor in Kentucky, UNC, Duke, consider playing with new rotations and trying to find the right first? I don't know. Like, they're not the only teams doing it. And also, UNC and Kentucky return a bunch of players. Like, it's not like they're sitting there going with a platoon system and running all these new guys in. It shouldn't be that hard. It really shouldn't. Duke, a little different. You got a brand new coach and 19 freshmen. Whatever. I don't think of it. I don't know. It should be done. Like, that's a 3-game thing. So that's all I have. Yeah, UNC James Madison. I don't know. UNC's
That could
offense
be an
scares
upset.
me a little bit.
That could be an upset.
You think?
That could be an upset, yes.
That'd be a pretty big upset.
Yeah.
I can open up around 12, 15.
Look, James Madison is a damn good team. That's how I feel about them. I think they're a damn good team.
They're fun as shit. I love their coach.
They don't miss. Like, if they don't miss, it's not like North Carolina has been overly impressive like that.
They're shooting 51% as a team from 3.
They don't miss, and like again, I'm saying like at some point, like they could just get blown out of the building because they start like regressing back to the mean and like they're not making shots. But like from what I've seen so far, like what would the line be? So that it can't okay,
it'll open up like 13.
They'll be double-digit underdogs. Sprinkle the money line. Like it's worth the sprinkle of the money line. You'll come out of this, you'll be like, I'm a genius. I called the James Madison UNC upset, but like nobody's gonna call you out if you like.
Yeah. Oh no, UNC won again. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm just saying,
UNC's looked like shit. UNC's looked like shit.
Yeah.
UNC's number one in the AP. Proof that this is why I don't give a shit about the AP poll.
Yeah, the AP poll's bullshit.
Like
this is like anybody that has eyes and all these fucking media members on college basketball Twitter with fucking like 5,000 followers giving out their shitty takes and saying like these are the top 25 teams in the country. They know fucking bullshit about shit. They know shit.
It happens every year. Every year.
Like even so, like Dayton lost to UNLV the other night. Had a fantastic first half. We lost our power forward, who gets all our rebounds, and
Kamara Holmes out.
Yeah, like we just collapsed. And I saw people being like, "Oh, like overreaction. They shouldn't have been in the AP." Like, no, like that team shouldn't have been. It is not a top 25 team. Like I'm saying, more Dayton is a top 25 team when everyone's healthy. Like people just don't like look at stuff so surface level, such on the surface. Like,
okay, so power rank the worst people in college basketball. Ready? AP top 25 voters.
Michigan State fans.
Michigan State fans. Transitive property people. So like
yeah.
Michigan State lost to Gonzaga, therefore Gonzaga will beat Kentucky. You know, just the transitive.
I'm transitive property, by the way. I gotta get ahead of that.
And fourth. Wait, no, okay, I got 5. The transitive property. 4 college basketball refs who give technicals for shit talking, and college basketball refs in general. 5, and I heard this yesterday during the game. The media who blame TikTok and Instagram for dumb plays.
Oh yes.
How do you power rank those 5 as the worst? Who's the worst of the worst? For me, it's refs.
Yeah, refs. I fucking hate college basketball. I heard J-Bo on Roundball podcast. Check it out if you.
Yeah. I think we're going to get J-Bo on here at some point.
He was very funny. He was like, dude, like these fucking refs. I was like, welcome to the dark side, brother. Like the whole shit's rigged. I'll say the worst people in college basketball, like besides the refs, are people that just think that like just because Gonzaga hasn't won a national championship, they're a bad program. Fuck those people.
Those people. I was going to say that should actually be in there besides Michigan State fans. Or instead of Michigan State fans are Gonzaga loses a game and everyone just goes, see, I told you, they're bums. Yeah, Drew Timmy's lost 8 times in his career.
Do you know how much easier it is to say a team's not going to win a championship than a team is going to win a championship?
Very fucking easy to do.
You can, like, it's like you have 362 teams that could win it to one. Like, it's just ridiculous. And people are like if Gonzaga had the schedule that they had, and like, you know, they go 2-2 out of conference play, they cruise through the WCC, they get the 1 seed every year, and then they get knocked out in the round of 32 every year. I'd be like, yeah, frauds. Like, you can't really say anything else. They're frauds. They lose in the fucking like Elite 8, Sweet 16, and Final Four.
They've been to the championship game 2 of the last 5 years.
Dude, they are they're legitimately like didn't they like blow that UNC game too, if I remember it correctly?
Nigel Williams-Goss had a bum ankle. Like
if Mark Few gets one of those championships.
It was a legit toss-up, and then they got their ass kicked by Baylor, but Baylor was fucking awesome.
And also, like, Rico got dragged for this by Dave and Dan for being like, this is like, everybody is like, this is one of the most anticipated national championships of all time. But I truly believe in the college basketball world that was one of the most truly anticipated.
I don't know if it was one of the most anticipated. I mean, it was highly anticipated, but it
was a year wait. It was a year-long wait where, like, There was no.
But you got to take that out because literally any two teams after a year-long wait.
No. I'm not going to because when the season got canceled, the top 4 teams, the 4-1 teams, were I think were Baylor, Florida State, Dayton, and Gonzaga, if I remember it correctly.
Probably something like
that. And everybody thought that, or Kansas, sorry, but Baylor was right there. Baylor was having a hell of a year. Baylor and Gonzaga returned everybody the next year. Everybody said going into that year, those two will play in the championship game. Everybody, and like the entire year, like I was like, oh, Baylor's way better than Gonzaga. No, Gonzaga's really better than Baylor. And when Baylor had that COVID hit, and they started to regress a little bit in like February, everyone's like, all right, Gonzaga's going to run away with this.
I think the UNC Gonzaga game in 17 was more anticipated than Baylor Gonzaga in 21.
I disagree with that because I think that the way that a casual college basketball fan is going to talk about the 2020-2021 Gonzaga team, they are the best team I have ever seen.
No, not even close.
Yes.
Not even close. Yes. I can name 8 right off the bat. 2012 Kentucky, 2015 Kentucky, 2007 Florida, UNC,
Gonzaga would be all those teams.
No, they wouldn't. Not
20,
even fucking close.
Yes, they would. They would win all of those games.
That's the dumbest statement I've ever heard.
Games. It's also like you're arguing like the 95 Bulls versus like the 2017 Warriors. Just because of 3-point shooting alone, Gonzaga would be able to win those games.
They wouldn't.
Yes. The only team that I'll give you that I think is the most talented team of all time is Kentucky 2015. Talented.
Not 2007 Florida would beat the shit out of them.
Bro, Gonzaga would win by 20.
No, they wouldn't.
Okay, I'll look at that.
If 2018 Villanova's better than that.
I'll agree with that. That is a top 2 team for me.
It's not even, no. Listen, I love that Gonzaga team. They aren't one of the 10 best teams.
I also have like a take. I kind of have a take right now that I need a few more years to marinate, but I think that if you took like the best teams after 2016 kind of thing, like any team has 2016 that's a really good college basketball team will just be able to blow out any team before that.
I disagree with that too.
Like there
was too much modern shit. The UNC 98 team. I don't know. Fuck you.
Bro, I was 0 years old, but like, yeah, Gonzaga would win by 1 million.
I really disagree with that take. Like, there are so many better teams. I disagree with your 2016 take too. Like, you're telling me that, again, 2012 Kentucky wouldn't beat one of the, like a post 2016 team? Come on.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't think that they'd beat 17-18 Nova or Gonzaga or Baylor.
Why? I don't think you realize how versatile that 2012 Kentucky team was.
I don't think you're realizing how good these recent teams.
I think 2018 Nova is one of the 7 best teams I've ever seen. 2018 Nova, I should say, not 2017. But like, I love that Gonzaga team. They weren't even the best team in the country that year. Baylor was by far better than them.
See, I also
if Baylor doesn't get hit with COVID, they might go undefeated that year.
I cannot talk. The thing with what I'm debating is also all hypotheticals, where I could say I think that if you played that game 100 times, Gonzaga wins 75. There's nothing to prove that. That's just my opinion on it, and like that's why this is just like we'll go on a circle debate about this.
Right,
There's nothing that I can factually state that says Gonzaga was a better team because they lost that one game that they played. So
I think
that's there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. But
I think Baylor beats that. If Baylor and Gonzaga played in 2021 100 times, I think Baylor wins 63 of them.
So
maybe over 65.
And
that Baylor team was fucking
good. So fucking good. My point mostly stands in the fact that Gonzaga was shocked by how athletic Baylor was. And I think that if they could prepare for that again and know what they were getting themselves into, they wouldn't have been as like frantic.
But see, I think that's also the recipe of how you beat Gonzaga. Like, look at every time they lose. And that's not a lot. Like I said, Timmy's lost fucking 8 times.
Yeah. I agree.
It is because teams are super physical and athletic.
Yeah, agree.
So I think that's the recipe. Baylor just has the recipe. That Baylor team And that's why I think they win 65-ish games out of 100 against that Gonzaga team. Like that Baylor championship team might go down as one of the most underrated teams I've ever seen. Because
they're right there for me. I think that the Gonzaga and Baylor teams are in my top 5 best teams I've ever seen.
Baylor.
Don't worry, 2012 Kentucky's there.
Baylor might crack my top 10. But like, I mean, I can go back further than you, obviously, because I'm 35 years old, of teams from the 90s that I would take over them, like the early 2000s, like some of those early, as much as I hate saying it, like that early Duke team with Jay and Battier and 01, like loaded, UConn loaded 04, UNC, Florida in 07, UNC in 09, Kentucky 12, Kentucky 15, Nova 18, Kansas in 08. I mean, it's like,
yeah, I don't think Kansas in 08.
I think that's another team that I think will always go down as underrated. They probably should have lost the title game, but when you look at what they had and what they did, that team was fucking good. They won a Final Four where all 1 seats made it. That's impressive.
2020 Dayton, obviously.
2020 Dayton, the biggest question mark in college basketball history.
Dude, that was it's a Friday. I'll let this go a little bit. And I don't really give a fuck if no one wants to talk about this. When the season got canceled in 2020, and I was on Twitter, and like Gary Parrish was doing like the simulations, and like a bunch of people had like Dayton winning it. That was worse. That was worse than like obviously like losing in the round of 32. The Sweet 16 was like always on the table for Dayton because everyone's like it's like an upset alert. But like seeing the simulations was worse than anything.
I simulated it. I forget. Let's see if I can find it really quick. I did a simulation. I forget what website I used, but I was like obviously bored out of my mind. And I wrote like an entire fan fiction of like the day, because it was like I was supposed to be at one of the Barstool sports books on that Friday or whatever. So let's see. I had Dayton. Where's Dayton here? Dayton lost in my simulation to Colorado in the round of 32.
We lost them in the regular season that year, so.
Because I think I had my Elite Eight. The last blog I pulled up with the Elite Eight, it was Kansas, Kentucky, Richmond, Villanova, LSU, Arizona, and Rutgers, Creighton.
Yeah, I think the 2020 Dayton team and 2021 Zags. I mean, 2 of the better offenses in free flow. Like just
it's super fun to watch. I just don't think
just so aesthetically pleasing to watch. And then this is the stupidest fucking thing I've seen in all the shows that we have done so far. I get that team probably would have won it all. You just can't say that with the COVID. The COVID was the biggest question mark of all time. Like that was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
COVID's the biggest question mark of all time. Kenyon Martin's up there.
Yeah.
Kenyon Martin's up there because they drop from a 1 to a 2. They get Bill Self. Like the Kenyon Martin one's a little more fascinating because of the fallout, right? Like Bill Self ends up leaving Tulsa, ends up getting eventually to Kansas. Kenyon Martin, like that was kind of the last great Cincinnati team until what was it?
Patrick?
16 when they lost. No, that was 17 when they lost.
Yeah,
to Nevada.
16.
Yeah. So yeah, the Kenyon Martin one's up there. I stand by my theory that Cincinnati will always just not be good until they go back to the Jordan brand jerseys from that Kenyon Martin era. Yeah, to me, COVID's the biggest one. Like we can look back at the 2000 tournament and go, all right, we're debate. Was Cincinnati better than this team? Was Cincinnati better than that team? Would they advance here? With Kenyon Martin healthy? We didn't even see a fucking bracket for the COVID year. That's why that's the biggest question mark of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And injuries happen. And I know injuries don't always happen to the National Player of the Year and everything like that, but injuries fucking happen every year. So, like, yes, Kenyon Martin's the biggest injury question mark, but COVID's by far the biggest question mark in college basketball history. It's not even close.
Is there any other ones that come close?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to take some bias out of it because it's not close, but like Alex Poythress being hurt, like he was the perfect matchup in 15 for Decker, who destroyed Kentucky.
You know what? A little like thought that I've had, a little rant. I don't know how you guys feel in the comments right now, but I don't give a shit. I don't like. I'm a Ken Pom person. I'm an analyst. I look at Haslametrics.
Yeah,
I look at everything. It's like
staggering.
Even if I don't agree, you just have to consider.
You have numbers. They have numbers.
I think it's just stupid. Like I've seen. I know personally it's happened to Dayton. I know it happened a couple years ago with Illinois. But the fact that like a 1 seed Illinois gets matched up with a 9 seed Loyola Chicago, who is a top 10 team in Ken Pom, is something that needs to be fixed in tournament seeding, in my opinion. With Dayton in 2016-17, one of our better teams ever. For Dayton, those seniors were freshmen during the Elite Eight run. So we returned everybody. And then we got matched up with Wichita State, who took Kentucky, I think, down to the wire, if you remember that correctly.
Yeah, that was
it was yes.
Wichita State, Kentucky. Yeah. Sorry, I was saying when Wichita State was undefeated and Kentucky was the 8th seed and beat them. Like that was unfair for Wichita State. But
Wichita State, I'm checking it. I'm looking at it right now. Wichita State was a 10 seed and number 8 in Ken Pom.
Yeah, and like, listen, I got into it with people the year that Illinois lost to Loyola, and Loyola was an 8 seed. When you look at, and yeah, like, to me, they were like maybe 1 seed too low. I know they were high in Ken Pom, but you look at like their resume, right?
For sure, and I'm looking at it right now.
They lost to Wisconsin. They lost to Richmond. They didn't beat anybody in the non-conference. And then you look at the conference, like, you know, they split with Drake. They split with Indiana State. They only other top 100 team they beat was Missouri State. They win the conference tournament. It's like they kind of felt like, I'm talking about Loyola.
Okay. Oh yeah.
They felt like an 8 seed. Like if you look at that resume, you take the name out of it. They kind of felt like an 8 seed. Now maybe a 7 seed, but like they didn't do anything where you're like. The only argument for them being higher was their analytics standings or like analytics rating.
Yeah.
But if you look at the resume, it's like, I don't know, they're kind of fine, I guess. Like, and again, like people see 8 seed and freak out. It's like that meant they were one of the 32 best teams in the country.
I also think that
based on resume.
It's also like I think that Illinois just got the short end of the stick because a lot of people wanted to see little school beat the big school.
Yeah, for sure.
Set them up for a nightmare.
For sure. And like that's always the argument is you hurt like a team that's underseeded doesn't hurt necessarily the team underseeded. It hurts whoever they have to play where you're like, whoa. We're a 1 seed and we're playing like a top 15 team in the country based on all these rankings.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time. Like, but again, I don't know how much you can't just go right down like Ken Pom and be like, all right.
No, I'm just saying it has to be considered.
Here's 2, here's 3. That's what makes it tough. So I don't know. There are truth to it, but I don't have a solution for it. Basically,
yeah, it's tough.
But here's my solution: the NCAA tournament committee should be people full time, not athletic directors, who literally like Joe Lunardi should be a full time NCAA tournament committee member. People that live and breathe, know how brackets work, know how resumes work. There should be about 12 of them from all walks of life, full-time NCAA tournament committees. That's how you get the best tournament. That's my solution.
So he can just squeeze St. Joe's in every year?
I mean, but you have 11 other guys to balance that out.
His St. Joe's bias is crazy.
Of course, everyone has bias. And I just use Lunardi as an example. You can go to fucking the bracket rankings, bracket matrix, and take the 12 best guys from there. Make them full-time NCAA employees, and their job is to make the bracket. So, all right, let's wrap it up here. We got games starting in 15 minutes. Again, my card running through for people here. My best bet is Iona -3. Dukes' best bet is Baylor, Virginia under 131. So far in my card, I got Penn State +2, Furman -8, Bellarmine +12, Florida State under 145, over 139.5, Colorado A&M. We will be back Monday or Tuesday. We'll figure it out come Sunday when we see the book, come out with our minds. So we'll run through Feast Week and give out some bets for that. All right, see everyone later.